morning. Good morning.
Buenos días.
Welcome to a Viva Cafe con Leche. You go first today. I always go first.
Oh, buenos días, mi gente, and welcome to this beautiful Tuesday morning with Viva Cafe con Leche. This is your safe haven, your platform for real talk about love, life, sex, and laughter, and with your two favorite hosts, the Badass Buddha and the Gladiator Guru. Buenos días. Namaste, mi gente.
All right. You going to introduce yourself? See,
Yes,
you're all thrown off because I usually did say what all you do, everything.
Oh, no. You know what? Everything I do, it all equals up to I am La Margarita, your magically orgasmic co-host of today's Viva Cafe con Leche. And I introduce to you my co-host,
the Badass Buddha. Lori, also known as Lori. I do that now whenever I do like networking things now. I just introduce myself as Badass Buddha, aka like I don't say my name first anymore. I just say Badass Buddha. And I think that's something that you would be good for you to get into the habit of too, because you got to own it, you know? I mean, there's moments, boy, let me tell you, that I do not own. It would be good if I switched the banner. There we go. That I do not own the badass piece sometimes when you're just kind of feeling you're in that pity party moment, you know, where just Gladiator Guru says it all the time. She's like, fuck my life. She's always, that's one of your favorite expressions. And you get into those moods where you're just like, oh my God, I've had enough. Like, how much more shit could possibly be piled on me? And you don't feel very badass sometimes, you know, but that's why you must take a step backward or not backward. You must take a step inside yourself, which is why today's topic is going to be so powerful. So how was your weekend? Oh, how was your weekend, the Gladiator Guru? If you notice behind her, it's a little fun. It's a little different. And there's a reason.
Even my chair. I have a red wooden chair today. My weekend is good. I'm revamping my whole house. So painting, moving things, refurbishing furniture. There's nothing new. All it is sanding the old and repainting it, and the walls and organizing. And that's what I did here. So I no longer have my desk back here in my sanctuary. So it's just you're gonna be having different angles, but then again, who doesn't like different positions?
Amen to that. Good morning, Arika Borachala. I love that last name so much that over the weekend I was like, it just popped into my head and I just said it. It just rolls off the tongue and just off the lips so nicely, that last name.
Well, can I make a suggestion for it to roll down correctly? Is Bolahala.
Oh, Bolahala. Sorry. No. White girl.
Let me tell you something.
Got excited and you squawked.
Erica and I work together. We're former co-workers. And one day, one of the office people got up there in a staff meeting and had to tell us all how to say her last name, because everybody was saying Bolachala because you sound it out. And he's like, can everybody just do me a solid and call her by her right name, because she's getting frustrated right now. It's Bolahala. And we all just cracked up.
But it sounds like I said it before, it sounds Hawaiian. It doesn't even sound. What nationality is it? What?
She said, take out the C and you got it.
I figure that now, and I won't forget that now. But
Erica, you got to say, take out the C and you got me. Erica, what are you? What are you?
Well, that leaves a lot for, like that could be a whole show. What are you? What nationality? How about that? We'll be more specific. Oh, she's Polish. Oh my God, it doesn't sound it at all. Like it sounds, right? It sounds like, I mean, I guess because of the the CA, it sounds very Latina, you know, like, but Bola Hala does sound, when you pronounce it that way, it sounds like Hawaiian, like Polynesian. Listen, you could throw people off completely. You could say whatever you want. Nobody's going to question you. Oh yeah, no, my family is from the Northern Hawaiian Islands, and my father was a tribal leader. I mean, people won't even probably, they won't even question it, you know? Good morning, Lillian. Lillian said, good morning, Queens. Actually
Buenos
said, great
dias.
morning. Great morning.
Good morning, my beautiful. Is Lilian in Francia, my co-host to Ajusta tu Corona. Buenos dias, mis reinas. Michelle Houston, good morning.
Yes. Yes. Keep going. Anybody else there? Michelle, Francia. I'll type everything in a moment. But so Gladiator Guru, talk to us about coffee. Talk to us about how you, I know you mentioned about your weekend and what you were doing, but what has that opened for you? Because we're going to be talking about walking in solitude, which could be literally and figuratively. But you had a walk in solitude this weekend with everything that you've been doing. So talk about whatever way you want to go. Coffee first, and then we'll a little bit of that conversation.
Well, for coffee, you know, I was going over some notes when I had to sit my ass down this weekend because my body was hurting going up and down the ladder. And I was going through my Viva notebooks and just for a project that you and I have going forward. And I came across all the Tuesdays that I will talk about coffee. And today, just to put them all into one explanation, coffee is like that commercial when you're at the top of the mountain and you eat that York peppermint patty.
And you get the smooth sensation.
And you get that, but this is the warm sensation that awakens every nerve in your system. It just goes down and you feel the warmth of it just going down in your chest. I don't know how hot you like your coffee, but I like it hot. And that first, and you just feel it going down. And there's nothing that you can say, I cannot face today. And that's why coffee is just, it's like when you get up and you take that deep breath and you stretch and you feel alive. That's how that first sip of coffee going down feels. Like coffee is that intimate lover that you long for that is no longer there, and it just wakes up, like it touches your palate and it starts sending the shivers down your spine, and then you feel the warmth going down, riding down, and then you know what else happens. I also shaved this weekend, so it was pretty good.
Yes, you ever do that? You ever have your cup of coffee and you'd be like, yes, yes.
Oh yeah, I serenade my coffee. There's so much foreplay going on with it. It's just, you know, when you're making it, you make it with so much desire. And you just can't wait to taste it, but you have to do it just right. You know, you have to get the milk froth just right, and just you have to put like the little bit of my coconut milk, and then you fill it to the top with the black coffee. It's just, it's a romance. It's a love affair that as long as you get up and have the desires to make magic that day, that romance will live for as long as you will.
God, Michelle wrote, I'll have what she's having. Do you remember? But you remember what the reference is? It's from the movie
Sally.
Yeah, when Harry met. Cheers, Michelle. That's just, so. Listen, that just warning that if once we're all back to dining together, be careful being in public having a cup of coffee with Gladiator Guru. That's all I gotta
we
say.
We have to have an early morning coffee date. Let me tell you something. My muse, the lover that I add on to this coffee, we would sit and have coffee whenever I was over there in the mornings, and it was just, it's just, you know, it sets the day. Like there's nothing you
coffee
can
after sex. Is that what you're saying? Coffee after sex?
It just in the morning. It's just, you know, coffee with company makes you feel like you are on top of that mountain, and that York peppermint patty first bite, and then the breeze from the mountaintop comes and gives you that sensation. I love my coffee, just me and my coffee. Like, we're best friends. Like, we're never going to falter on one another, but having it with the right company, it just maximizes that sensation.
So Barbara,
when I invite you,
Barbara Munoz says, I so agree, having my cup right now. Atta girl. Is it magically orgasmic?
Buen provecho. I think that we can all have magical orgasms if we are present in our now and are fully awake in what it is that we're doing in that moment. I think that the magic happens when we are present with what we're doing in that moment. So many times we get up and we grab the cup of coffee and we got to get back in the car and we got to rush that. We never take the time to just be present. And then we're always rushing to do so I think that if we start teaching ourselves to own the now that we have, because it's going to be gone in that instant, and it's going to be replaced with whatever it is you're doing for the day. So take that first morning, that first cup of coffee in the morning, and sit in solitude, and just, vision what you're going to do for the day, so that when the hiccups happen and you're behind somebody who's going slow, something's not working at home office or your office, it's not going to be that catastrophic mentally. Like, oh my God, I gotta get. No, because you spent that quality oneness with yourself, where you know that no matter what is thrown at you, you're fucking Neo from the Matrix today. You're going to be shifting and flowing, and nothing is gonna stick on you. You're gonna have that Vaseline, that imaginary Vaseline on you, and anything that does not belong in your day is gonna glide right off of you. That's that morning cup of coffee in your solitude.
Well,
and I think that we need to appreciate that.
What's very cool, what you said is that you're talking about solitude, and cup of coffee has both abilities. If you think about it, like both, you could be one with your coffee. You could be by yourself and really enjoy the moment with your coffee. Like I've said that before. Like, one of my favorite things is when I go on vacation, or if I go camping, and either one, and I just get up before everybody else gets up and I have the coffee. That's why, like, I always have to make sure there's always a coffee maker, and if not, I bring one, because we lost Gladiator Guru, so hopefully she'll jump back on.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
And you can have that moment by yourself of solitude with your coffee, but we also know, which is the premise of the show, that coffee also is a community thing. It creates conversation. It's when somebody says, oh, I want to, hey, you want to get together? Let's go for a cup of coffee. And so it invites conversation. It invites togetherness, whether it's a couple, whether it's 3 people, whether it's a group, or whether it's just by yourself.
It is. And, and my apologies to the tea drinkers, but first, I've been drinking coffee since I was my earliest memory of drinking coffee is 3 years old in my baby bottle with my grandma. So that's why, like, coffee that's just my staple. And I think that if we learn to take that, even if we have to get up earlier and have that cup of coffee and just sit with yourself, the day is going to be as magical as you allow it to be. And when I say magical, I just means that you're going to flow. You're going to shift and flow as you should, as the universe set the day for you. Not us thinking we know more and sticking our finger up our nose and wondering why we got boogers on our fingertips. You know what I mean? It's about, let's, let's go into the mantra. Like, my mantra for today, you ready?
Yes.
Is what is meant to be will always find its way. What is meant to be will always find its way. And we fight that. and we say it as though we believe it, as though, oh, the universe and my meditations, and I set my affirmations and my mantra. And then what happens when it's not going exactly how we thought it in our little pea brain? We start making adjustments, and then at the end of the day, we're exhausted mentally and physically. We might become emotional because we didn't do what we were supposed to do, and it's because we tried to be the Captain Save-A-Hole of our destined day. So what is meant to be is going to come to you. What you have to do is not accelerate it to happen any quicker. What you have to do is be fully present in the moment of what's happening and embrace it and accept it, and things will be as they should.
This sounds like a conversation we had yesterday with regards to my last few days. So thank you for reiterating that. So you said the mantra, which is fabulous. So I might as well say the intention. So the intention is, I will find a quiet place to be alone with purpose. So your intention today will be, is to find a quiet place. I will find a quiet place to be alone with purpose. There's a difference with, some people don't like being alone because they think it's a waste of time. Even if you just turn off technology for a moment, not right now, because we're in the middle of a conversation.
Yeah.
So
don't cut us off. Don't cut us off.
But when you get a moment, like 5 minutes, and you just sit quietly and just whatever, think, not think, it doesn't matter. People sometimes think that's a waste of time, but and they'll say, oh, what are you just wasting time? You're sitting there. But if you're sitting there with a purpose, it's not a waste of time. And scrolling on your phone a lot of times is a waste of time. It's very mindless, but sitting with purpose is very mindful. And then say your mantra again.
What is meant to be will always find its way.
Right. And so if your day's not going well and you want to sit for a few minutes, find that quiet place to be alone and with purpose, and then say that mantra. It's true. It's like what we do. We get overwhelmed and we try to fix it in our heads, and we try to, and because that's what I've been doing the last 4 days, and it's not been working at all. It's just my whole little personal life has just been out of control because of so many other people around me are having issues, and it's getting in the way of me doing the things I need to do. And then there's my piece where I've put off certain things, or I've said, okay, I'm going to do it on this day. And then something got in the way and the frustration comes in. So it's been very clear to me that I have not taken time to sit quietly and contemplate. My worry is this, because I can meditate. I mean, I could sit for 2 hours and meditate. I've done it before. It's not a problem. My worry is that that's all I'm going to want to do. Like, I'm just going to want to sit and like meditate all day, like the Buddha sitting on the hill, and just be like, I'm downstairs, leave me alone. And the whole world is crashing around me and I'm just meditating. So I have to find my peace and solitude, but in increments, because I do need to get things done. But just forcing it sometimes isn't the answer. So your mantra is beautiful. It absolutely goes with what we're going to talk about today.
I think that I can't meditate that long because my ass falls asleep, but that's how comfortable I get. But I think that it's like learning a new task. It's like getting
more coffee.
It's like getting a new job, and you have to learn a whole new task to be good at it. And what we do is we adapt that to everything outward in our lives, and we fail to inquire within. What do I need to relearn? What do I need to purge? What inventory must I take about me that then purge the unnecessary shit that I'm carrying around? And then relearn yourself. And with whatever you're relearning, then you decide, is this beneficial for this new chapter in my life? Because now your whole thought process has changed. You want to take inventory of your inner life, your thoughts, your emotions, what your beliefs are, because whatever you believed in before 2020 may not be the same right now in 2021. So 2019 and 2021 you've either regressed or you've launched forward. So now you might have to relearn a little bit about yourself. Who is this person that I am today after what I went through in 2020.
Or I went through my whole fucking life, really.
Yeah,
Because we have to take stock in who we are at the moment. And sometimes, though, it could be from last year, but it could also be like you could have, like some of you could have got through 2020 and said, you know what, in the end, it wasn't really a bad year. I got through and blah, blah, blah. But then all of a sudden something hits. Like this is what's happening with me, was that 2020 wasn't really a bad year for me overall. And I'm very grateful for that. 2021, though, is already starting very challenged, but the challenged pieces truly are me. And that is what I have to come to terms with. And when you said take inventory, that's what walking in solitude is. I'm sorry,
but when I say 2019, it's whatever led up to 2019, right? And then 2020 came and put us in timeout.
Yes.
So well, anything
some people
from 2019, it put us in timeout, whether we learned an abundance about ourselves, we learned about what we want to be going forward, we learned what we no longer need. It put us in timeout. And to me, I believe it served a great purpose in our lives if we took the time out to relish in it, right? To revel in being in timeout and not being able to do what we did that kept us too busy to really fulfill our destiny. Because being busy means being under Satan's yoke. So when you're so busy, being busy, you're forgetting what your purpose in this life is. What is your destined purpose? And if anybody needs to really read about that, go read The Alchemist. So
I love that book.
we all, many took from 2020. Many gave up in 2020. It's how you look at life. For those who saw 2020 as the worst year of their life, I hope that coming into 2021, they realized that they were forced to learn something. And the reason they ignored it was because they felt they wasn't ready. But none of us were ready. We just have to say, okay, this is what's happening. What am I going to do with it? And that's throughout your life. You know, whatever happens to you is happening to you. How are you going to navigate around it, over it, or break through it? Right. That's totally up to you. But I think that the taking the inventory and inquiring within and realizing, what do I need to, and I'm using this right now, but when I did my walk of solitude, I did it to be reacquainted with the Margarita from the past 5.5 years and then put her to rest while I rebirthed the new one on my journey to come out to who I am today. And that was devastating and it was difficult and all this thing. But at the end of the journey, I gained so much, and I interned everything I saw, all the beauty, and I interned it into all the beauty that I possess. And I turned, like what Oprah Winfrey, one of her quotes that I published in my book is, you know, when you turn your wounds into wisdom. And that's what you do when you take that walk of solitude. Whether you're walking from the bathroom to the fucking living room, it doesn't matter. You're taking a walk, and what you're doing with that solitude from that short distance is, what are your thoughts? What thoughts are you generating that are gonna benefit your spirit?
Okay, well, listen, sometimes if you're walking from the living room to the bathroom, you have one thought.
Well, then guess what?
And doing the job that needs to be done in the bathroom. I'm just saying.
I say from the bathroom to the living room. That means you already did what you had to do. But I need to get up real quick right now, okay? Just real quick.
Okay, so we keep swapping off. So that's good, because she was talking so much that I didn't even get a word. I didn't get a word in. So what we're going to be talking about today, so what Guru was saying was taking inventory. And sometimes that is a very hard piece for us, that if in taking inventory of anything around us is ridiculously easy. Like we can easily find things outside of us. We can easily point things out about other people's lives, other people's, you know, whatever's going on, the world, anything. But it's that moment that we take inventory of ourselves. And so this is what walking in solitude means. Walking in solitude is walking your path to self-discovery. It's talking about the power of solitude and understanding self-passion and purpose and finding peace. Walking in solitude doesn't have to be, like Gladiator Guru said, doesn't have to be climbing, walking in Spain, or going to Mexico or Peru to climb the pyramids. It is your solitude and your moments throughout your day, every single day. Now, is it hella more fun to go to some of these places and discover yourself? Yeah. Those are very spiritual journeys. You get to open yourself up to things that you've never seen before, but we need to be able to do that on a daily basis, even in our own environment. And if your environment is not conducive to that, like if you really can't take a pause in your own environment, then you have to find solitude somewhere. Sometimes, like I have a very loud, well, I don't want to say loud, I have a very busy household, having kids and having parents around. And so and having senior parents around is like having children. So I don't always get moments of solitude because they don't allow me to, like I'll go in the bathroom and I'm in there for like 10 minutes in the bathtub and I'm getting a knock at the door. Are you almost done? When are you going to be finished? Or the little ones coming and you coming out, and it's like, you've got to be kidding me, So we've got to create the solitude for ourselves, whatever that means. If it means just going outside and taking a walk, even if it's cold, bundle your ass up. If it means sitting, listen, I'm going to share something very personal. I am a person of solitude that when I'm very frustrated with something, very stressed out, very or even upset, and I can't handle things too much longer, I have to shut stuff out. And so one of my go-to places, and I'm not even kidding you about this, as an adult, was the closet. Like, so I would go into the closet of my bedroom, and there was like a little area where the shoes were that I could totally fit my body in there and just sit and close the doors and not be bothered, because everywhere else people would find me. And I've tried to thought, I was thinking about this. I've tried to think if that's what I used to do when I was a kid, like, was that something I did as a kid? I would hide I don't remember. And I never really asked my mother, but that was my solitude. Like, and I haven't done that in like probably a couple of years now, but it became very clear to me that I needed to steal the moment, or else I was really going to lose it, but I've, got to a point now where I have places to go and I can lock doors and I can very clearly make boundaries and say, please don't bother me. I'm going to go sit for about 10 minutes and that's it. The biggest hurdle is me. I'm the biggest hurdle of taking the time to do that, to say when I'm very flustered, oh, I just got to take 10 minutes for myself. That's the biggest hurdle. And that's usually the hurdle for a lot of us.
See, I have like coffee, books. I love books. I love old books. I love turning the pages. I love smelling them. And when I wanted to just fly away, I would read a book. And when I was reading a book, I automatically block everybody out.
Right.
So that would be my escape. But okay, let me see, because somebody's been like Barbara Muniz.
Yeah, she's talking a lot today.
That's excellent. Namaste,
Yes.
Nicole Young. Dropping off stuff at the club. Love 2020. Yes, I can relate to what you're saying. She says, I agree. Last year was an eye-opener, and it shocked me to the core of my being. I know it prepared and strengthened me for what I really wanted and need for more.
Yeah, perfect.
I'm walking. And Nicole Young said, love that I'm walking to get coffee. Shit, they just opened the door in my house. Yeah, Iris is talking to you that they just opened the door in her house. Good morning, Tiffany Torres, my beautiful emerald. I find that when you look at self, the greatest challenge and freedom is owning your truth and self-discovery, then assessing what's your self-worth and disposing of that which robs you of your peace, self-love, and happiness. Oh my God, Barbara, I love you. Yes, that's what I've been talking about. You have to cultivate self-compassion. And while you're doing that, you cultivate self-esteem. And as you're doing that, then the cultivation of self-love comes in. And then all that equals to is you being a woman of strength. That's you putting that armor on and being the captain or the lead in your platoon and knowing exactly what you got to do, what angle, was strategy. That's what it is. That's exactly. You have to garner that strength to look in the mirror and discover who you are and point out your flaws, because we all have flaws. I don't care how much money you have or how perfect you think you are. We're all fuck ups. And when you accept that, then what you do is you focus on what your good points are. And you know what? You have to be at peace with who you are at the core. And of course, we all have room for change, because until our last breath, we will be a work in progress. But yeah, so that was good, Barbara. What you just said, that was awesome. And my Tiffany Torres, she must be on her way to work. Oh, Denise, Grand Rising, gorgeous.
So again, like, so what you said and what I was saying before too is that part of the reason that most of us don't like to take these moments of solitude, because we do have to take that inventory of ourselves. We have to face things. And I am convinced, and I've seen this over a couple of years now, that anybody who says, I don't like quiet, I can't sit still and I can't be quiet, I'm convinced that they just cannot stand hearing their own thoughts, their own selves. Like everybody I've ever run into that really, really does not, like, they have to always have the TV on, like every moment, that they can't sleep without the TV. I'm not saying, because I know some people, I know you'd like to sleep with the TV, I think, right, Gladiator?
Hell no. I like complete darkness when I sleep.
I thought you did. But
I am very comfortable with mind, body, and spirit.
But sometimes, even if they did like to sleep with the TV, that's not it. It's when it's never, like when there's always something listening to, or they're always preoccupying themselves every moment. Like they can't just sit. And if you say to them, just sit still, take some breaths, and they're like, no, that doesn't work for me, they instantly cut it off. I'm convinced that those people just cannot be with themselves. And it's those people that I have noticed, I've decided for me, and this is, if this sounds like a judgment, it's really not. It's more of an observation for me, that I need to pull myself away from those individuals, because it is, they're not authentic. And I'm not saying it in a bad way, like, oh, well, they're not authentic, I'm not going to hang out with them. I don't mean that. They're so fearful of their own stuff, and they will, and they just bring drama with them. Because listen, you know what? You can be a total, like Gladiator Guru said, you could be a total F up. But if you own it and you're aware of it and you're doing something about it and you are taking those moments, you are the bravest, most incredible person in the world. And I'm privileged to know you, because we all are forever. That's our journey. We always make mistakes. So we're always taking a look inward to fix it. And walking in solitude, whether you're sitting in your house, just sitting still on a chair, or if you're literally outside walking, there are a lot of people believe, and I'm one of them, that being outside is extremely therapeutic.
It is.
Like, there were poets that were big on this. There's research done on this, that getting outside and reconnecting with your outside world, nature especially, not just talking about people, but nature, is very, very nourishing for the soul and the spirit, and for your mental and emotional well-being.
Again, those poets. Well, we talked about The Alchemist. Let's go back a bit. In the comments, real quick, mi gente, how many people are familiar with Paulo Coelho, the author of The Alchemist?
That's me crazy,
right? So take it off. Just take it off. Let them free. So
take it by off.
How many people are familiar with Paulo Coelho? He's a renowned writer. He wrote The Alchemist, and like I own all his books. The last one just came out. It's called The Archer. But he wrote one of the hippie. Now, Paulo Coelho was 41 when he wrote his first book, but he used to write jingles and everything. What led him to be, and The Alchemist was his second book published. But Paulo Coelho did a walk of solitude to find himself, to figure out what is his purpose in life. And then came this fabulous book called The Alchemist. So Paulo Coelho walked El Camino de Santiago. He walked from Saint Jean Pt.1 in France all the way to the northwest end of Spain, Murcia and Finisterre. And it was after that walk that he wrote his first book called The Pilgrimage. And then his second book was The Alchemist. So Lori brought it up about so many poets who talk about that. You have to become one with nature. You have to listen to the birds. You have to feel the breeze of the branches. You know, even the bees and the flies that come around, they're still part of nature. You have to kick up dirt. You have to sit your ass on the grass. Like my thing to say when people just keep on and on and on, and they trying to take you through this wormhole of their bullshit. I'm like, shut up and sit down.
Yes, like, shut up and sit down.
Relax already. So yeah, with the poets and you read Robert Frost, you know, The Road Less Traveled, and he talks about, you know, going quietly into the night, and it's all that. He's talking about outside, the outside energies, the life outside. Not only of us, we think life outside of us is materialistic stuff. No, go hug a fucking tree when you feel down. I love hugging my trees. And I even got Mateo, my 3-year-old nephew, to hug trees with me when we're outside and to take our shoes off and go into the grass and the dirt. I live in a sandbox, so it's mostly sand. So what happens? You have to ground. You got to teach your other kids too. But yeah, go ahead, Laura, because I heard you say I'm talking too much. And you know, when I have lack of sleep, I wake up very vivacious for some reason. We started with orgasm, so now I'm like, tree hugger. Go ahead, Nicole Young. That's right. We have to bond with Mother Nature because she's the one that takes care of us. Like people are like, oh, I don't do that. I don't walk barefoot. Where does your food, like your fruits and your vegetables, come from?
Didn't you say go ahead, Lori?
And no, I said badass, right? I guess.
Did you say badass? But go ahead, badass.
You know what? I'm gonna finish drinking the rest of my coffee. Go ahead.
Like that, and then you just filled in the words for me.
Go ahead.
So I don't not. You know what? Now I don't even know what the hell I was going to say.
You better say it, woman.
I know. Listen, you know, there's beauty around us, you know, and so if you're living in an area where you're just like, I can't stand it, it's stale, it's not, you know, beauty, you can't see the beauty, then get the hell out of there for a few hours or whatever, you know. Like I'm blessed because out my window every morning, I live across the street from a pond and I love it. And because I am a water person, I have to be near water of some sort, whether it's fresh water, salt water, I don't care. It just, I need to see water. And I love it because I see wildlife and I love animals. And so, you know, it gives me, when I stop and look at it, see, that's the thing. It's in front of me, but things can be right in front of you and you don't take the time to pay attention to it. However, though, I am getting the calling of seeing things that are beyond that beauty, you know, and, you know, when we think about walking in nature, you don't have to just be walking in nature, like in parks or whatever. You could find beauty everywhere. I mean, when I was in Europe, I haven't been in Europe in years, but the architecture, the age of everything, the history, that to me is breathtaking. When I was in Old San Juan, it was just breathtaking, not to mention the little city itself with the cobblestone streets, but also the fact that it's on the coast and it's like you see the cliffs there and it's beautiful. And it's about taking those moments, you know, when I was in New Mexico and it was just taking those moments of just looking around at what you're seeing and being quiet, like shutting the hell up, like stop talking, stop thinking. Even if you're thinking and going, wow, this is beautiful, that's okay. But it's that being present, you know, seeing where you are. When we were in New Mexico, I remember the place that we stayed at, they had trails all over the place. And it was on the, I think it was the Rio Grande River, which I thought would be really grand, but it was actually in this particular area. It wasn't really anything to talk about, but nonetheless, there were trails everywhere. And so I went hiking with the little one because the little one's an adventurer just like me. And we would see like snakes and lizards and bunny rabbits. And we had such a great time. And even though it was hot, I mean, it was the summertime and it was in New Mexico, but it still was fabulous. And it was just the desert, you know, and it wasn't even very deserty because it was a resort. So it's like they still bring in all the greenery, but It was the contrast. And I took it all in and I made sure that I did. Like I saw the mountains in the background and I looked at it all, and it was so therapeutic. So like I just wanted to keep doing it. Every day I would get up multiple times a day. I would just go for a walk. Somebody want to come with me? No, I'm going by myself. Every town we went into, it was the same thing. So finding your solitude. What else do we get from it? Let's talk about that.
Well,
We have a little bit left. What are people going to receive from the solitude?
Well, and not only that, but when you're in your solitude, that's when you have a better vision of what you no longer need. I mean, in your solitude, you find that peace. You get reconnected with your inner strength that you
That's
didn't
right.
have yesterday, that
Yeah.
maybe because everything, and I think Nicole Young said it, and Nicole Young, I am 1,000% with you. I believe starve the ego, feed the spirit. If we feed our spirits, our body will follow suit. And that's where a lot of the overeating stops and everything, because we're feeding. When we feed our bodies, what are we feeding? The sorrow or the neglect that we are giving our spirit. So you feed your spirit. You read the Bible in the morning. You meditate. You talk to God. You go out there in Mother Nature, and you embrace it. You dance under Mother Moon at night, which is what I love doing. I love standing in the middle of my street and raising my arms up to a full moon. And my neighbors are already used to me doing that. And so what do? So you do that, and then when you sit in solitude, when you walk in solitude, you'll cry. You're going to cry. You're going to get these overwhelming emotions. That's why a lot of people
I
don't like
will.
to do it. They don't like to do that. They don't
I
like
will.
to sit with themselves, because then they're not going to be able to push it down anymore. You're going to cry. You're going to wonder, what the fuck am I crying for? Because now you've compiled like 10 stories of sadness and grief and sorrow into one that now you're not going to know how to identify it until you allow it to purge. And then the story's going to unfold through your tears. And people don't take the time out to discover who they are, to learn what they need to improve on and what they need to purge.
Because of a lot of times because of fears. When you sit quietly, you Gladiator Guru is absolutely right. This is what happens when you sit quietly. You will get the answers. And they're not always the ones you want to hear. That's the biggest problem. And I know this because this is something that I still, to this day, even with all my growth and transformation, there are always things that I will resist, and I get the answers. And so that is why solitude is synonymous with meditation, synonymous with prayer. Because when you do all of those things, you're sitting quietly by yourself, and you're speaking to something or someone, in some way. But nonetheless, you're sitting quietly. And a lot of times, why do people pray? They're asking for something. They're asking for guidance. They're asking for this. And if we're quiet enough, we will hear what needs to be done. We will know what is not right for us anymore and what we need to purge. And we will get the information that we need. That is what stops a lot of people, because we think we know what we want, and we think we want it to go in this way. Or we may say, I'll trust in the process, and I might not know what I want, but I want it to go in this way. And then we refuse to hear it when it's being said to us, and that's why we don't like being still. What did you say, Guru? You and I were talking about this yesterday. You want to make God laugh.
Make plans.
And
Yeah.
so if you are sitting quietly and you're saying to yourself, I don't know what to do, I'm just going to sit quietly, and your gut is saying you need to do this, and you're fighting it, then that is what needs to, you fighting it is you in your head, and you have got to let that go. Is it easy? Hell no. Sometimes it is. Sometimes you'll be like, fuck yeah, I'm so glad that you said that. Thank you. My heart, my mind, the universe, whatever. But vast majority of the time, it's not easy, because it means a big life shift. But if you do it frequently, if you walk in solitude frequently, you will. God, what the hell's wrong with this shirt today? You will look at me. I'm like a hot mess. If you walk in solitude frequently, the conversation flows, and you will hear what needs to be said all the time, and you'll be used to it. Right? If you don't do it that often, you're very uncomfortable with the conversation. But if you do it on a regular basis, you become very comfortable.
And let me tell you, my walk in solitude is when I walked 500 miles through Spain. And I did it, a month after I buried my husband. And I went knowing, because I saw Paulo Coelho in an interview 2 years prior to Eric passing, talking on Super Soul Sunday about his walk. And as I'm lifting my husband out of the bed to put him in the wheelchair, I said, Father God, I would love to do that walk. And then, of course, life happens. Eric is slowly, leaving due to ALS. And then I left. I went with no knowledge of anything. I saw some videos and I got my backpack and I flew to Spain. And then I took the bus to Saint Jean and walked. And I went by myself and I met like the coolest people that I'm still in contact with. And one of them I still have virtual dinner and wine with, and he lives in the Canary Islands. So what happens when you do that? I needed to understand the wounded Margarita who just got married and all of a sudden shifted from wife to nurse for the whole 5.5 years that Eric was paralyzed. So I had to rediscover what did I gain in those 5.5 years and what parts of me did I lose that I needed to reconnect with. So I had to bury the old Margarita. On my walk, pieces of her stood in Spain as I reconnected with the strong-willed, magically orgasmic Margarita that came from it. Like I realized that I was that goddess in awe of myself, walking through there and climbing those mountains and feeling like I wanted to die. And just the silence was never silent for me. They say that silence isn't always quiet, and it wasn't, but it was just beautiful. And aside from my
Uh-oh. I don't know if that's on her end or my end. So actually, if she...
me?
Oh, you froze for a second. I don't know if that was you or if it was me. No, it was you.
Anyway, so I think that when you
your connection is funky.
Hold on.
Listen, while you fix that, let me just mention Nicole Young. Amen. People need to trust gut. She said, TED article yesterday. Being in our head determines the decisions based on our need. If you touch your heart, feel it in silence, it will beat accordingly. And yes, and that will get you in touch with what is best for you. When we get into our head space, we think we know what we want, but it's the heart that actually really truly knows what we want. And then Barbara Munoz says the soul purges from those tears. It's a release and a cleanse of the it doesn't spew. And let's see, small voice tells you the truth. Being alone and loving you starts one step. And yes, Gladiator Guru will be right back. She's trying to fix her connection. So, and then Nicole Young, you said spirit pushes you out. Negative energy doesn't want your light to shine. Very true. And that's just it. It is up to us to take the moments within ourselves to help rebirth our spirit, to relive our spirit, to engage with our spirit. Sometimes it's so out there. And when Guru was talking about the steps, going on the steps, your journey does not have to be, don't hinge your walking in solitude on, well, I have to go to the steps or I have to go here to do that. If you feel this urgent need to just move forward, then move forward. Then just do it. Just walk, and if you say, well, I'm just going to take a quick walk, and then you're walking, you're like, I don't feel like going back, then, right now, then just keep walking. Walk as long as you need to. And if you don't like where you're walking, then to get it in the car and drive to some place that's beautiful that you can walk. I definitely, I'm going to say, for me, I am feeling it. I'm at a point where I am very much feeling the need. It's a really big pull to walk. Like I've literally felt like putting a backpack on and walking for hours, like to see how far I could get if I walk for hours. And here's Gladiator Guru. She's back on. There we go.
Like what
There we
the
go. I don't know.
I'm back.
So I was saying how, people, when you were talking about doing your walk in Spain, that individuals don't have to wait. Like, don't make the excuse of, well, I'm going to walk here, I'm going to walk there. Walk, wherever. And I want to share something really quickly. So when I was a senior in high school, I had a lot of time on my hands. I didn't take a lot of classes. So one of the things that I would do during one of my study halls is I would go sit in the library and I would just read. And one of the books that I read, which is out of print now, it was called Walk Across America. And it was a story about this guy and his dog who walked from the East Coast to the West Coast. It was in the 70s. And he just had a backpack on and very little money. And he just walked. And what he would do is he would live basically off, like he would camp out, or if somebody wanted to take him in for the night, that he would be appreciative, or he would do some work for them. But whatever it was, he walked across, and he met so many different people from so many different backgrounds. And it was such a beautiful story. And it was funny because that always sat with me, that always resonated with me, that I would love to walk across the United States. Like, I would love to just do that. I would love to pack it up and like plan accordingly, and just, whether I'm walking, although walking would be fun, but we're just driving and stopping and doing that. And the pull has gotten greater and greater and greater, to the point where it's like starting to call me and say, it's time. Like, it's time. If you said you're going to do this, you need to do this. And for me, it's not just me, it would be, with my kids. So I have to go within myself, sit quietly in my own solitude over the next couple of weeks to really determine what my next course is. And I have not been doing that, because I think I know what it's gonna say, and I've been avoiding that conversation. And here's how you know when you avoid it within yourself: you fill other things in there. If you say, I'm tired, but you don't want to go to bed, so you watch TV, or you get on your phone and you look at your social media, or you're doing anything but sitting still, or you get to the point where you're so tired that you cannot stay up anymore. The minute you hit the pillow, you're going to fall asleep. When you feel those things happening, that is the universe or God's way of saying, stop. You need to sit, you need to hear this. And you are not wanting to hear it. And I know, because that's been me. And then I've also been very moody. So that is also an indicator for me that I need to shut the freak up and sit still.
Well, because we need to learn to stop running from ourselves and walk with ourselves, with our true selves. The
Right.
raw, ugly, painful, scarred up, wounded person that we may be, we need to walk with ourselves. And you know what? We're using walk because I love to walk, Lori. But even if you take a long ride and put the windows down and let the wind mess up your ear and blast your radio or not, because sometimes music to me is life. So even whatever I'm feeling, I can turn on the music, listen to the lyrics, and then bring it all right back to me. Because, when you learn to center, so music to me brings me back to me, because I'll hear one word out of the whole song and I'll stop, because it's like it's speaking to me. So you got to find what really works well for you and walk it and rediscover yourself and go back and do the work. And healing is not for the faint of heart. Healing is messy, but when you do it, you come out so much stronger and with so much gumption for life, and with the thrill of knowing I got this. But it all goes back to you. And I think Nicole Young mentioned the TEDx. I'm going to go check that because I love watching TEDx. But it's like you have to love yourself. You know what? At this point, if you're not there, just like yourself enough to walk in solitude, even if it's short distance. Start small. Start from the bathroom to the living room. Whatever floats your boat. But just start it, because you know what? The same way we can sit and judge other people, we don't like their outfit, what they think this. Oh my God, look at her here, look at those nails. And you know what? Start doing that work within. What do you want to remove from yourself that is no longer serving you, that you don't like, that it's ugly? Start removing that. And like that, instead of projecting your discomforts of yourself onto other people, let them be. That's their style. You know what? People look at me, they think I'm crazy. When now my 3-year-old nephew, when he comes over and I don't have my diamonds on, he's like, what happened? Where is it? Where is it? You know? So you just got to be yourself. And if you're authentically yourself, if you're true to yourself in all your wonders of ugliness, of piles that you need to correct and stuff you need to purge and get reacquainted with, then you got to do that. Stop projecting your judgment on how other people are dressing, talking, whatever it is they're doing. Focus that inward, and that is your walk of solitude. And be grateful. You know, give thanks before your feet touch the ground every morning. And, you know, listen to Viva Cafe con Leche every Tuesday and Thursday. I mean, it's like the possibilities are endless, you know. But the thing is, you have to want better for you. That's the bottom line.
And you have to not be afraid.
Oh, no.
Because listen, when we're talking about, whether you're talking about God or you're talking about the universal intelligence, you are perfect being imperfect. We all are. So when you get those moments of being by yourself and you are going like this to yourself, because you don't want to hear what you have to say, that is where you need to be the most. And it's uncomfortable sometimes, really uncomfortable, until it gets comfortable. Like I can't tell you how much I love being by myself. When I go on vacation, I have to take moments by myself. I have to. I can be with I love my children, but I have to get up really early because I know their asses do not get up as early as I do. And I go and I take a walk, and I purposely find places to stay where I feel comfortable that I could walk by myself. So, you know, we sometimes stay at this one place in Maine, right on the water and right on the beach. And it's fabulous. I grab my key, I quietly get dressed, I sneak out, and I just go. And sometimes it's a walk. Sometimes it's just sitting there. I watch the sunrise come up, and I don't, and the interesting thing is most people that are out there are by themselves. You know, they really are. And it's like, you've got to take those moments. And it's just, I cherish those moments. I really do. And it's funny that I've really got to push myself to get there, because again, it's about the conversation that has to happen with me that I've been avoiding. And so we want you to feel comfortable with yourself, but if it means having to be uncomfortable first, it is worth it, totally worth it, to push through that discomfort.
Oh my God, real quick, I know we got to go, but you're absolutely right. Thank you for bringing that up, because you just stirred up a memory. I was talking to somebody, and and I said something to that effect, and they stood quiet, and I said, listen, we're talking about business. And I said, you know, the badass Buddha and I talk about this all the time. And what you got to remember is you must be the farm and the farmer. When that farmer plants that seed, you have to make sure that you're embedded in there and that you want to flourish, because not every seed will grow something, right? That's why you plant so many. And then the farmer has to be there and water it and make sure that it's the dirt is fertilized and all of that stuff, so that seed can blossom into whatever it is it's going to grow into. And when you build your foundation, that's what it is. It's building it and waiting. It's not going to happen overnight. You just have to put in the work. You have to put in the work and believe in yourself. And one thing that Badass Buddha always talks about, and I love it, and I always refer to it when she talks about, because it's so important, but I don't think it's said enough, about even when you're looking in the mirror, when you're by yourself, be authentic. Like my father taught us since we were little, nunca te engañen, never lie to yourself. Because you know what? The world's going to beat you up on its own. We should not have a role in assisting them.
And we're first in line always. We're first in line.
Yeah, so you must.
And we get back in line. Like we just keep getting back, and we're first in line. And then as soon as we're done and somebody comes up behind us, we get right back in. Oh, wait, enough.
If you value and love God, or you call it the universe, because to me, they're both one and the same. then be grateful for it. Be grateful that every day you get up with 18,400 seconds in your day. Your bank account gets replenished every
Yeah.
morning. Be grateful that you have that day. Be grateful to God. Be grateful to the universe, and be the best you can be. That is why every morning you start fresh, because you have work to do. So do it. Do it with grace. Do it with kindness in your heart. And best of all, do it with gratitude. Because if you start your morning by yourself with your taza de cafe, walking in your solitude like that, then guess what? You're not going to have time to be judging people, to be having nasty attitudes. When you hold the door open for somebody, you chose to open that fucking door. Don't get upset when somebody don't say thank you. Because then what's the purpose of you holding that door open if it's just to hear a thank you back? So that's what you have to learn, that whatever you do, you're doing it out of the kindness of your heart, and you're walking in your solitude, and all you're going to see is the beauty. The ugly is always going to linger, but you're going to choose to focus on the good things in your life so that you can then progress into the better things that you're meant to live with.
Right. That's right. And with that, beautiful way to end. So we definitely encourage you to sometime today take a moment for yourself, walk in solitude, sit in solitude, whatever. And definitely from this point going forward, take that time. And on Thursday, so let's see, we're going to show this. So on Thursday, we're going to continue our conversation on walking in solitude, and we're actually going to be more literal about it, because we're going to have our guest on there on Thursday is Nicole Snell, CEO of Girls Fight Back. Nicole is a very cool person, and bless her heart, because she's on the West Coast and she's getting her ass up at 5 a.m. to be on with us. So she teaches people how to travel by themselves. She teaches self-defense courses. She's got a series that you can follow, and you can learn how to like be hiking and be safe. And she's very cool people. And I'm very excited that she was, that she's willing to get up to come onto the show. So she's going to be talking about that. And she's traveled so many places. And so we're going to really get into it about what it was like traveling by yourself all the time, and what did she learn about herself, and, and what's that, what has she done with that information? So, and hopefully between our conversation today, and then in addition to our conversation on Thursday, that we inspire you and inspire us to get off our tushes a little bit more and really step out. And, we have circumstances. Gladiator Guru, she can't always leave because of her situation. But hell, you know what? If you live near her, give her a moment for her solitude and go babysit for a little while, for an hour, so she can have an hour for herself. Believe me, it will be appreciated on all aspects, but yes, anyway, so that's our show for Thursday. And any last minute?
Thank you for that. But in the meantime, we got to figure out how to maneuver in between. And thank you for that. I appreciate that. But that's why I be climbing up and down my ladder. I be putting music on, and I be dancing. I be doing flamenco and bachata. I dance 30 minutes every morning. So, make the best of what you have. You don't have jelly, but you got peanut butter. Put some honey on that piece of bread. Smack it together. You got a sandwich. It's what you look at. That it's okay. Okay, I don't have this, but I have that. You make the best of it. That's what life is about. It's about, I hate, it's so cliche when life gives you melons, but that's what it is. Look at what you don't have when you need it, and then look around. Don't stop there. Look around. Okay, what can replace this? Because there's always something that you can add or remove. If you don't want honey, guess what? Don't eat peanut butter. It's that easy. But there's no reason to get worked up about. And life is what you make it, mi gente. Not what someone else did to you. It's what you choose to do with the life you have and the circumstances you're dealing with at that moment. And with that,
and I want to say, Nicole Young, really quick, she says, do not go where the path may lead up, instead where there is no path and leave a trail. And that's by Ralph Waldo Emerson. And yes, Emerson and Thoreau are two of my favorite poets, because they're so big on being outside and connecting with nature, transcendentalism and all that stuff. And so thank you, Nicole, for mentioning that. And thank you, everybody, for coming on today this is what we've been asking for. The comments, the Share your knowledge with all of us, because we always can learn something new. Gladiator Guru and I do not know everything, and it's beautiful to hear what you have to say, because, and for the tribe, and we are all here to create an amazing world for ourselves, and it starts with each of us. We have to make the change within
Absolutely.
ourselves to make the change for the world. So thank you so much, everybody, and we will see you on Thursday. And from the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, be extraordinary.
Mi gente, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. And remember, breathe in the beauty, breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.